realize how hard it is to actually pick a favorite until you have to pick a favorite. In today's video, I have all the top luxury brands and I've picked the #1 product from each of those brands. Now, of course, it's my #1 product for each of those brands. I'm sure there'll be a disagreement on some of these things. So, for instance, if I pick Tom Ford, I chose, in my opinion, the #1 product that Tom Ford makes and the product that I would recommend above all others. Why was this so hard? Again, taking a brand like Chanel, there are a lot of products by Chanel that I absolutely love. Just picking the one best one, really, really difficult. So I did my best. Here we go. First, you might have noticed, yes, I did get my hair cut. I cut off my 6 inches. I cut off 6 inches like every, twice a year or so. And this is my natural hair. So I didn't feel like blowing it out today. There was a lot going on. So yes, 6 inches, and before you know it, it'll all be back again. So let's go ahead and get started. I don't have them in alphabetical order in front of me, but when I re-edit the video, I'll make sure that they are in alphabetical order. Armani. So when looking at all the Armani products, my favorite, the #1 product from Armani that I would recommend above all else were the blushes that they got rid of. They were sort of the cream to powder blushes, which are now gone. I think they were called Neo Nude blushes. I have 7 of them. I think 7 of them. Could be 8. Maybe I have 8. Love those blushes, but again, they don't make them anymore. I tried to make this video only products that you can currently buy. So the product that I would say from Armani is the #1 product is the Armani Power Lipstick. These are great lipsticks. If you haven't used these before, they look like a teardrop. They go perfectly, they shape perfectly onto your lips. Great opacity, great staying power, lots of good shades, just an absolutely amazing product. And it was between that and the foundation. The foundation is an amazing foundation and one of my favorites, but it's not my #1 Armani product. I felt like the lip product was more so, although it's very, very close. Like I said, this was really, really hard. Chanel. Chanel, of course, was the most difficult of all these things. I probably have the most Chanel more than more Chanel than I have any other brand because I worked for them. I had a really tough time picking the Chanel. That was my favorite. If the blushes of old were still in existence, I would absolutely pick that because the blushes, the old Chanel blushes, which I have, not all of them, but I have a lot of them, they were phenomenal. They were out of this world phenomenal. They had like the Solar Glow powder, there was something about those blushes that just transcended every other, like it's just the perfect product. It smelled amazing. It did have a scent, but it smelled amazing. It lasted all day. The color payoff was perfect. It blended seamlessly. It worked on everyone. Loved the blush. But anyway, it doesn't exist anymore. So what I did choose was a waterproof liner. Now, I have heard from some folks they don't like these liners and they feel like they dry out. Mine have never dried out. I have never had a problem with them. I do store all my makeup in a certain way. No light, no air, no humidity, all of those things. So maybe that's what it is. Or I could also say that sometimes the tops in these things, you think they're closed, but it's not closed until you click it. So that could be an issue. I love that product. I have more of those liners than I have any other liner on me, and I have on the Espresso Today. That liner it always does what it needs to do. It never smudges, it never wears funny. It looks perfect all the time. I can wear it all day. I don't have to worry about it. In every shade, there are some great shades. Many of them sold out, many of them discontinued, but it's just an amazing waterproof liner. You can put that in your waterline, you can put that on your lash line, you can just get out the door, and in my day, like I just don't even have to worry about it. It could rain, it could snow, it doesn't matter. It's gonna be fine. Chantecaille. Chantecaille was super tough, guys, because there's a lot from Chantecaille that I absolutely love. And there may be a video coming up with a special code. Stay tuned for that. For the upcoming sales. So I had a really tough time picking just the one thing. I went back and forth between mascara, Radiant Elixir, like the luminescent eyeshadow. I mean, it was, I had problems. But the way I decided on the number one thing was I said to myself, okay, what do I use the most? What is the Chantecaille product that I use the most? And honestly, it's the Future Skin foundation. I use this foundation more than any other foundation. And in fact, I gave it to my sister. I gave one to my sister because I had extras. And she wears it as well. And she's sort of a minimalist when it comes to makeup. The thing about the Future Skin is that you can wear it if you're somebody who likes sort of just a dewy, simple finish, or you're somebody who wants a fuller face of makeup. Because although it doesn't offer a tremendous amount of coverage, the coverage that it does offer is beautiful and seamless and dewy, and just, it looks, it's a gel formula, so it's soothing and comforting on skin that's like mine, like rosacea prone, but also just if your skin is dry, if your skin is more mature, it just sort of plumps it a little bit. I think it's the gel nature of it. It just looks beautiful on the skin. If you're somebody who wants full matte coverage, yeah, that's not gonna work. That is not that foundation. But other than that, it's really phenomenal. And if you are looking for something that's more matte, more full coverage, I do have a foundation in this video for you. Cle de Peau. Cle de Peau was incredibly difficult as well because there's so many things by Cle de Peau that I love. The foundation, the foundation is excellent. They have numerous foundations that are excellent, but the touch-up stick, the concealer stick, love the concealer stick. I've had the concealer stick from Cle de Peau for years. They actually have changed it over time, reformulated it, but it's an amazing, like if you like a stick concealer, Cle de Peau's is really, really good. I don't use concealer that often. I feel like for me now, if I have a red spot or something, I just let it. It's just like, well, that's what I look like. And sometimes, like if I'm doing a business meeting or something, I will use that concealer. I travel with it to like, you know, do a touch up or something. But for the most part, I'm just gonna let it go. I spend a lot of money on my skin, lasers, moisturizers, facials, all that good stuff. So to try to keep my skin in the best condition I can so that I don't need or I don't feel like I need you know, many facial products. What I ended up going with was the eyeshadow. The eyeshadow quads, the new ones. This one is Ocean Sunrise. Maybe make sure I got the name. It's number 4. Hey, I got it right. Ocean Sunrise, which is beautiful. I actually chose 2 shades from this. I used the base here, and then I used this in the transition, and then I used a color that will be coming up later from another eyeshadow quad. So again, when I'm saying that this is the best, I'm not saying that Cle de Peau is the best eyeshadow on the market. I'm saying of all Cle de Peau products, if I were to say, if you had never tried Cle de Peau before, and you were to come to me and say, okay, I'm gonna buy one Cle de Peau thing, what is it gonna be? I would go with the eyeshadow. This is so hard. I don't know why I did this to myself. I really don't. Dior. Dior was also tough. So what I finally decided on was the Dior Maximizer. If this had been a couple years ago, I would have said the eyeshadows, the eyeshadow quads, but it's the Lip Maximizer. This is the new shade Rose Nude. I'll make sure the name is down below. It's the one that came out with the holiday collection with the blooming bouquet, boudoir collection. I love the shade. I have 2 of them. But the maximizers are excellent. It's more than just a gloss. It's a maximizer. Like, it's glossy, but it's moisturizing. It also plumps a little bit. It's a little bit warming, but not too much. Honestly, one of my favorite formulas I've ever seen created. I would strongly encourage anyone to pick them up. I think pretty much anyone would like them. And they come in, I don't even know now, 30, 40 shades. I have quite a few. Dolce & Gabbana. You guys know what I'm gonna say. And yes, I have this on my face today. I try to have like, at least not, I can't have all the products because there's overlap, but I have a lot of the products on my face today. This is the Dolce & Gabbana Solar Glow Powder. I have this all over my face. I don't know what's in this stuff. I really don't know what's in it. It says Bare Skin Beautifier. I wish I knew what was in it. It's made in Italy. It's 0.23 ounces. I've used it almost every day. I haven't really made a dent. But it's this white, there's, you know, you can see it. But then when you rub it in, it's just gone. And I can't tell you what it does except to say that it smooths everything out, makes you look younger, makes you look brighter, makes you look smoother, has no scent. The only drawback is it's hard to find. Other than that, for me anyway, perfect product. Givenchy. Givenchy, believe it or not, there's a lot of Givenchy, there's a lot of powders by Givenchy that I really, really love. And I thought about doing the lavender powder that they have because it's really, really good. But there's one product by Givenchy that I find myself reaching for that I use, and I don't actually talk about it, and that's their highlighter. This is the limited edition one. This one was organza, and I don't know if you can, like, you can see it on my face. It's this beautiful, wet looking powder highlighter, which when I first bought it, I was like, ugh, because I have, you know, dump it in the cap and then you have, but there's something about the fact that it mixes and it's this loose powder and then you put it on your face that gets this look that I can't really get with any other luminizer highlighter. This one, can you see, like, see that? It's just, there's something about it that's really special. That's, I don't know, I find it really beautiful. And I do find myself reaching for that particular highlighter when I want something a little bit more dramatic. So that would be the thing that I would recommend. Number one. It was really close though with the lavender powder. Really close. Gucci. You know, Gucci's not a favorite. I mean, I love Gucci, the designer, and there are certain things from Gucci that I would love to own, but Gucci as a makeup brand has not really wowed me. There's some things from Gucci that I do like, but for the most part, it's all kind of been like, it's okay. You know, not my favorite, not the worst, except for the bronzer. The bronzer I loved from the minute I bought it, and I've loved it ever since. So it comes in this Tiffany blue case. It pops up here. You have a brush underneath. So it's a very thick packaging. When I first got it, it had a scent that was 3 years ago. So it no longer has a scent, but it's a phenomenal bronzer. I have it in 01. It's just a great powder. It blends beautifully. It looks great on the skin. It has a little bit of redness to it, which I appreciate personally. It's just, you know, I can't, the only drawback I could say would maybe be the price point or the scent. If you're somebody who doesn't like scent, it does have a scent. Again, now it's gone. But, you know, other than that, I can't think of a drawback. I think it's pretty much a perfect formula. Guerlain. I'll tell you guys, with Guerlain, I went back and forth because Guerlain has great lipsticks. Guerlain has great eyeshadow quads, in my opinion. There's the meteorites. That was my first thought. But then again, I went to, okay, what do I use every day? What do I use most of the time? And although technically it's not, I guess, makeup, I use it as a primer. The Guerlain watery oil. I have 4 of these at the moment. Just in case, I don't want to run out. It's just a really good foundation. It's a really good primer for me because I have dry skin. So it gives like a nice oil. So it, you know, sinks in and makes my skin feel more moisturized. But it also plumps. But not like in a weird way so that you look like you had too much filler. Not that kind of way. Just so your skin looks like younger, healthier. You know, and if you have little like lines that you're not absolutely in love with, this kind of makes them look less severe. And you feel more moisturized and it just gives a nice, you know, smooth surface. I recommend that to pretty much anyone who has normal to dry skin. I have no idea how it works on oily skin. I don't have oily skin. I've never had oily skin. So I would be concerned to recommend to someone, you know, who had oily skin. But other than that, it's phenomenal. Hermes. Hermes was not a favorite of mine. There are some blushes from Hermes that I like. There are some lipsticks, shiny lipsticks from Hermes that I really love, actually. But the eyeshadows, I love these and plan to pick up all of them, actually, as soon as I can find a sale that's worth it and the right timing. But yeah, I absolutely love this product. I have the gold on from that particular quad. I'll show it to you again on my eyes today alongside something else. I mixed two different eyeshadows, but the shade right here. The product is excellent. It just, the color stories are interesting, but not too out there. Yes, they are incredibly expensive. It's $108, which is just too much money, but I have to say, I absolutely love them all. And for me to buy every single color story in a collection, that's saying a lot because I have a lot of makeup. I really love the formula in there. I think it's one of the best I've seen. Jimmy Choo. So Jimmy Choo, I don't have a ton of stuff by Jimmy Choo, but the one product that I would say that is absolutely worth it is the Jimmy Choo gloss. The glosses, they look like this. They are enormous and they are incredibly heavy because they have this gold pestle on the top. But the glosses are beautiful. They really are. They're thick, but not too thick. The doe foot is like it's a good applicator. The shades are gorgeous. There's an opacity to them. I will say the packaging is very nice as well. You know, you've got this beautiful looking component that you can leave on your desk. I am not wearing that one today. I'm also not wearing the Dior Maximizer either. I will, you know, when I get to the product, whatever it is in this lineup, I will explain which one was on my face. But I was going to use this one, and then I wanted to use another one just because colors, that I was trying to mix certain colors. But the Jimmy Choo glosses are really, really good. I am one of those people who's very particular about gloss. I don't want something too sticky, but too thin bugs me. Because if it's going to be thin, then it should be a lip oil, not a gloss. But I also want some opacity, but not so much opacity that, as you can see, I get very picky about it. But these are beautiful. Some are like this that are more just like a gloss, and then there's some with like shimmer in it. I would really recommend them. If you're a gloss person, they're definitely worth trying out. Prada foundation. So Prada foundation is what I have on today. The Prada foundation, I would say, is the counterpart to the Future Skin foundation from Chantecaille. What I mean by that is the Chantecaille Future Skin foundation is more of a dewy, light coverage that you can almost use, like if you use very little of it with a moisturizer, especially like put a moisturizer on and put the Chantecaille gel over it, you're going to have very light coverage. And it's going to make your skin look dewy and healthy, but it won't necessarily cover up like red spots and stuff. Prada foundation will, and it's more of a matte finish, but it's like a soft matte. And it's the only matte foundation I've actually ever liked. And not only do I like it, I love it. It might be one of, I'm going to do a year-end like best foundation video. It is phenomenally good. And you know, because it was matte, I was kind of like, really? Like, I'm not going to even think about it. But it's a phenomenally good foundation. It just, there's a couple things. One, it just, the color match is like perfect. I'm not exactly sure how it did it, but you put it on and you're like, oh, it's a little off, but by the time it sets in like 20 minutes later, it literally is a perfect match for your skin. I don't know how. It feels a little dry at first, but then it perfectly like sinks in. It's not too dry, it's not too moisturizing, it's not too dewy, it's not too matte. So this is a really good foundation. And it gives you good coverage. It is not full coverage, but it's really, it's like a light to medium coverage. I think it's what most people are looking for. Something that they can wear that's going to cover up imperfections, make them look more flawless, cover up things that they don't like, not settle into lines. It works for my dry skin. I think if you had extremely dry skin, like I used to have when I was younger, that might be a problem. But other than that, I think it's going to work for most folks. Sisley. There are a lot of Sisley products. I like everything. There's a lot of Sisley products that I like. And their single eyeshadows are phenomenally good. If you're a single eyeshadow person, take a look at their single shadows. I have used them many times on the channel and they are really, really good. But I decided to do the gloss because the Sisley glosses are really nice and nobody ever talks about them, or at least not often. They're just really good glosses. They have a shimmer to, well, many of them have a shimmer to them. They're opaque. They actually are very similar, in my opinion, to the Jimmy Choo glosses. Yeah, they're really nice, and I have it on today. This is number one. What I love about the Sisley glosses, and the Jimmy Choo for that matter, is you don't get that gunky gloss in the corners of your lips, or at least maybe only I get that because I have dry skin and dry lips, but it just stays on your lips. It looks nice. It looks shiny and glossy, but it's not gunky. And like I said, there's color payoff, but not too much. It's just a really nice gloss. They are expensive. The Sisley products are, of course, very expensive, but the gloss is really beautiful. Suqqu. I had a tough time with Suqqu because all Suqqu is phenomenally good. Lip fog is good, foundation's good, eyeshadows are amazing. And the thing that I would want to recommend more than anything else is their blush, because their melting blushes were like the Chanel of old. But like the Chanel of old, they discontinued them. I'm not sure why. They never were really specific about it. But they still do have non-highlighting blushes. What do I mean by that? The color blushes that they have, like in their winter collection that I just did a video on, they have a blush on one side and a highlighter on the other. And they're very shimmery blushes and they're beautiful. But the melting blushes were not. They were just a blush. They weren't a highlighting blush. And that formula I thought was just, like I said, like the Chanel of old. But Suqqu does still have blushes like that. And they put one in their 20th anniversary kit. And they do come out with these every so often where they have like the eyeshadows and the blushes, or a blush palette. They still have some blush palettes available. I would strongly recommend, if you can get a hold of a Suqqu blush palette that's not the color blush. The color blush, like I said, is the blush and the highlighter in one, but just the blush. I would say they are absolutely worth picking up because their blushes are so perfect. And they're as closest to the old Chanel as you're ever gonna find, at least so far. Tom Ford. Tom Ford bronzer. Like the Gucci bronzer, this is Terra. Terra is the shade specifically that I would say. The Gold Dust is really pretty, but I'm not a warm bronzer girl. That bronzer I've had, not that particular one, but the Terra bronzer, I've had, wow, 15 years? Could it be 15 years? I think it's 15 years. Time flies. So yeah, the bronzer, Tom Ford Terra bronzer is my favorite. And even if, you know, you like a warmer bronzer, you want with the Gold Dust, the formula is just so smooth. It's so finely milled. It's so perfect. It blends just seamlessly. It's what I have on today. It's just a seamless bronzer. Like, and for me, the color is perfect because I am pale and I look a little weird if I go for the really deep bronze. Again, also because I have red hair, it just doesn't, you know, doesn't go. And the Tom Ford Terra bronzer, perfect. Like, it looks like what I would look like if I could actually get a little bit of a tan. I don't know how Tom Ford did it, and I have to say back in the day, Tom Ford used to come up with products like that all the time, but it's a little more hit or miss now, unfortunately. Valentino. Valentino actually has a lot of good products. The only thing that I haven't tried about Valentino is their lipstick. I still haven't tried it. I have to get on it. And their bronzer, which I keep saying I'm going to buy, and I'm waiting for a good sale, and then I get to the sale and I'm like, I don't need another bronzer. But I really should buy the Valentino bronzer. This is the double-ended liner. These liners by Valentino, I've talked about it. They are extremely good. One side for these is like black, and then the other side is a pencil, and it can be in different shades. This one's like a blue. But you can see how thin that line is, that liquid line. There aren't too many liners on the market that you can get that thin of a line, that kind of precision, and they're just easy to use. I'm not a big liquid liner person. I don't have liquid liner on today, but I will say that I like both the liquid line and the powder pencil that comes in those Valentinos. They're extremely good and absolutely worth picking up. I don't think Valentino's introduced any new colors, but if they do, I would definitely pick them up. I have all of them, all the different colors that currently exist. Victoria Beckham. Until a couple weeks ago, I would have said my #1 Victoria Beckham product would be her liners. Her liners are phenomenal. They're soft, they're beautiful. You can smudge them out, make eyeshadow out of them. She comes up with some really unique shades. But my new favorite, my #1 thing that I would say, if you're gonna buy Victoria Beckham, what should you buy? Her mascara. This is the new one, the new mascara. I have it on today. This is Victoria Beckham's Vast Lash. This is phenomenal mascara. Love it, love it, love it. I did a video with it when my eye was totally messed up, but in a way it worked out because you could see how it looked on one eye versus the other eye, and you can really see the difference the Vast Lash makes. Really easy to go on, really easy to come off. I love the curved brush. I think I love a curved brush personally. It works for my eye shape, but it's not too curved. It's just like a little bit curved. It's not like a U. It's just a little curved, which is perfect because that's what my eye shape is. And the black is really good black. It's wet, but not too wet. You can do 2 coats. I haven't tried 3 coats, to be honest. But yeah, I love it. I have it on today, like I said, and I think it's a fantastic mascara. Absolutely think it's outstanding. Westman Atelier. Westman Atelier has amazing products. I've talked about some new ones that I absolutely love. But the product that I thought I had to say was my #1 product that I would recommend if you've never tried Westman before, and I was like, get this one thing. This is the pink bubble. Now, I already have a little pink bubble on, but I wanted to put a little on camera. What more do I have to say? The Dolce & Gabbana powder is amazing for all over the face. There's no question. And it does something that, like, to my skin that no other powder does. But this pink bubble from Westman Atelier, I don't like, it just brightens up it makes you look like you got 12 hours sleep and you ate vegetables and you did your yoga. Like, it's just a phenomenally good powder. It doesn't like settle into lines. It doesn't, it doesn't look cakey. I don't know how Westman did it, but it's now the only powder I use under my eyes. Yves Saint Laurent. Yves Saint Laurent, there were 2 things. One was the highlighting pen that came out years ago. They now have a coverage one, which is really good, and I still use it. But I don't use highlighting, coverage, under eye things very often. I use some, but not very often. But what I do love, and I use a lot of, are the Candy Glaze lip shines. And I put this one on first before I put on the Sisley gloss. And this is in shade 11. It's brown. I'll put the name underneath. Brown something. It'll come to me later. But this shade is like the perfect shade for me. And it's just this is a really great product if you're looking for something that's a shiny, moisturizing gloss. This is definitely not something that's going to stay on long. This is definitely something that's just, you know, shiny glossy for a short period of time, and then it's gonna wear off. However, while you're wearing it, you're gonna look fantastic. I don't find that it bleeds. It's thicker than that, so it's not really thin. A lot of glossy products that are very, very thin will bleed. I don't find that this bleeds. I don't have any lip liner on today, so you know, I don't see it doing that. But it depends on how many lines, you know, how oily your skin versus dry, all those things. So it is a shiny, glossy lip, so it's gonna be more likely to do that than say a matte. So that's it, guys. I did it. I went through the number one, what I consider to be the number one product for all of these brands. Again, I made sure that they were alphabetically, hopefully, throughout the video, and I'll make sure there's lots of timestamps. You know, there are tremendous amounts. There are many products for each of these brands that are really, really good. But I felt like if I could just pick like the one thing that I would recommend to someone who had never tried the brand, I could sort of challenge myself on things that I find to be like the best of each. And it was definitely a difficult process, but I felt pretty comfortable with what I've come up with. I do want to mention, I just stuck to luxury, what I consider luxury brands. There's a lot of brands out there that I did not include that I feel are, you know, high level brands, or, you know, they're not luxury brands, but they're certainly really good brands. One brand I do want to mention is Surratt. My favorite product from Surratt so far is the eyelash curler, which I did use today. It's a fantastic eyelash curler. It's the only one I use, so it's definitely worth buying. But also, I did pick up the Soufflé eyeshadows, so I'll be really interested to see if they become the number one thing for Surratt. I'd love to hear what your number one is for each of these products. I think it would just be it'd be a really interesting compare. So thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I really do appreciate it. I hope to see you in another video really soon.